Gabriel Lawson, a successful 30-year-old businessman, looked at himself in the mirror one last time before leaving home. In the luxurious penthouse, his reflection gave him the image of a man with unrecognizable hair, dyed a common brown shade, brown contact lenses that hid his green eyes, and a fake mustache that gave him a completely different look. He wore the waiter's uniform of the hotel royalty, the jewel of his hotel empire. "It's now or never," he muttered to himself, taking a deep breath. Gabriel had inherited the hotel chain from his father just 2 years ago and had been struggling since then to maintain the prestige and quality that made the Lawson brand famous. However, guest complaints had increased in the past year, and financial reports showed a worrying downward trend, frustrating his inability to identify the problem from his position as CEO. Gabriel had planned a bold plan: to work incognito in his own hotel for a month, observing daily operations firsthand and the interaction between staff and guests. With his heart racing, Gabriel left the apartment and went to the hotel. When he arrived at the Royalty, he introduced himself at the personnel office as David Mendoza, the new waiter hired to cover the summer holidays. The head of personnel, a middle-aged woman named Olivia, greeted him with a tired smile. "Welcome, David. I hope you're ready to work hard. The busy season has just begun." Gabriel nodded, nervous but determined. "I'm here to do my best." Olivia gave him an access card and a schedule. "Your shift starts in 15 minutes. Go to the 4th floor and introduce yourself to Ethan, the cleaning supervisor. He will assign your tasks to you." As he went up in the service elevator, Gabriel couldn't help but notice how everything seemed different from this new perspective. The luxury he had always taken for granted now seemed unattainable, and the grandeur of the hotel, which once filled him with pride, now intimidated him. When he reached the 4th floor, he found Ethan, a stocky man of about 40, with a stern expression. "You must be the new guy," he growled. "Take this cart and start in rooms 401 to 410. You have 30 minutes per room. Yes, finish earlier. Help your colleagues. If you finish later, you stay until you're done." Gabriel nodded, taking the heavy cleaning cart. As he walked away, he heard Ethan mutter, "These newbies don't last even a week." The hours were a whirlwind of crumpled sheets, wet towels, and cleaning products. Gabriel, used to spending days in a comfortable office, soon found himself sweating and panting with hands already irritated by the chemicals. During lunch hour, Gabriel sat in the staff cafeteria, curiously observing his colleagues. Most of them ate in silence, with tired expressions on their faces. A young waitress, Mia, was sitting in front of him, offering him a gentle smile. "First day?" she asked. Gabriel nodded, trying to smile back. "Don't worry, we've all been through it. If you need help, you can ask me." As they talked, Gabriel realized how much he didn't know about the daily lives of his employees. Mia told about the long shifts, difficult guests, and the constant effort to maintain the standards of a luxury hotel with limited resources. "The worst are the managers," Mia whispered, looking around cautiously. "Especially Lucas. He treats us like we're disposable." Gabriel frowned. His face vaguely reminded him of Lucas, the general manager he had hired a year ago based solely on his impressive resume. "What do you mean?" Before Mia could answer, a shrill voice echoed through the room. "The cafeteria break ended 2 minutes ago. Everyone back to work." Gabriel saw how everyone got up hurriedly, throwing their food scraps in the trash. Mia gave him a parting look before disappearing down the hallway. As he returned to his cleaning cart, Gabriel felt a mix of emotions: guilt for not having paid more attention to his employees' working conditions, determination to improve the situation, and a growing curiosity to discover what else he didn't know about his own hotel. What Gabriel didn't know was that his adventure as a waiter was about to take him down a path full of challenges, revelations, and difficult decisions that would forever change the fate of Hotel Royalty and all those who worked there. As the days passed, Gabriel became increasingly immersed in his role as a waiter. His hands, previously soft, were now rough and cracked due to constant contact with cleaning products. His muscles ached with the physical effort he wasn't used to, but his determination grew with each discovery he made about the reality of the hotel. One morning, while cleaning the presidential suite, Gabriel heard a voice coming from the hallway. He immediately recognized the deep, authoritative voice of Lucas, the general manager. "We need to implement this new VIP service as soon as possible," Lucas said. "Revenue has fallen 15% this quarter, and Mr. Lawson is asking uncomfortable questions." Gabriel tensed up upon hearing his own name. He quietly approached the door to listen better. "But sir," replied another voice that Gabriel recognized as Olivia's, "the head of personnel, we don't have enough staff to offer 24/7 personalized service to VIP clients. We're already at the limit." "That's not my problem," Lucas said coldly. "Do more with less, Olivia. If you can't handle the situation, I'll find someone who can." Gabriel clenched his fists angrily. Lucas's insensitivity disgusted him. He was about to come out and confront him when he remembered his disguise as a waiter. He didn't have the power to challenge the general manager. That night, during dinner in the staff cafeteria, Gabriel sat with Mia and other waiters. The conversation soon turned to the new VIP service. "They're going to squeeze every last drop of our time and energy," complained Daniel, a veteran waiter, "and I bet we won't see a penny more for the extra effort." Mia sighed. "The worst part is that they don't even ask for our opinion. We have ideas to improve the service, but nobody listens to us." Gabriel saw an opportunity. "What kind of ideas?" he asked curiously. Mia's eyes lit up. "Well, for example, we could create a more efficient communication system between departments. Sometimes a guest requests something, and the information doesn't arrive on time. Or we could customize rooms according to regular guests' preferences." Gabriel was impressed. This was exactly the kind of innovative ideas he was looking for. "That sounds great, Mia. Why don't you propose them?" Mia's smile disappeared. "I tried once. Lucas told me to stick to cleaning rooms and stop thinking about things that are out of my reach." Gabriel's indignation grew. Not only was Lucas putting too much pressure on the team, but he was also stifling valuable ideas that could improve the hotel. In the following days, Gabriel observed more closely the dynamics between employees and management, and realized how supervisors often ignored legitimate employee concerns. One afternoon, while cleaning the hallway, Gabriel witnessed an incident that left him disturbed. A guest yelled at a young receptionist, accusing her of losing his reservation. "I demand to speak to the manager," the woman shouted. Lucas quickly appeared, all smiles and apologies to the guest. But as the woman walked away, his expression changed. "How could you make such a stupid mistake?" he yelled at the receptionist, who was visibly trembling. "If this happens again, I'll look for someone more competent for the position." Gabriel watched as the young woman struggled to hold back tears. He wanted to intervene and tell Lucas that he shouldn't treat employees like that, but he knew he couldn't risk his disguise. That night, lying in the small room he shared with two other waiters in the staff dormitory, Gabriel couldn't sleep. His mind was spinning, trying to process everything he had seen and heard. He realized that the hotel's problem wasn't just about efficiency or service, it was a cultural problem. Under Lucas's leadership, an environment of fear and distrust had been created. Employees, afraid of losing their jobs, didn't dare to speak up or take initiatives. Gabriel knew he had to do something, but he also understood that real change would require more than simply firing Lucas. He needed to completely transform the way the hotel was managed. As sleep finally reached him, Gabriel began to form a plan. It wouldn't be easy and would certainly face resistance, but he was determined to make Hotel Royalty not just a place of luxury for guests, but also a place where employees felt valued and respected. What Gabriel didn't know was that his biggest challenge was yet to come, and that before he could implement his plans for change, he would have to face situations that would test not only his determination, but also his own identity. The sun was barely on the horizon when Gabriel, still sleepy, went to the hotel for the morning shift. He had spent another night tossing and turning in bed, his mind full of ideas and concerns about how to improve the conditions at Hotel Royalty. As he pushed his cleaning cart down the fifth-floor corridor, he heard a commotion coming from one of the suites. He approached cautiously and saw Ethan, the cleaning supervisor, arguing heatedly with a guest. "This is unacceptable," the man shouted. A middle-aged executive in an impeccable suit. "I paid a fortune for this suite, and it's full of dust. Is this a five-star hotel?" Ethan, visibly nervous, was trying to calm the guest. "Sir, I assure you we'll send someone immediately to resolve the issue." I don't want excuses, roared the man. I want to speak to the manager right now. At that moment, Gabriel made a decision. He approached impulsively and said in a calm voice, "Excuse me, sir. I'm the new waiter assigned to this floor. If you'll allow me, I'll personally take care of cleaning your suite." The guest looked at him with disdain. "And what makes you think you'll do a better job than the incompetents who cleaned before?" Gabriel, maintaining his composure, replied, "Sir, I understand your frustration. I promise I'll dedicate all the necessary time to ensure the suite is impeccable. If, after my cleaning, it's not satisfactory, you can speak directly to the manager." The man seemed to consider this for a moment. "Okay," he finally said. "You have 1 hour. If I'm not satisfied, I'll have the entire cleaning staff fired." Ethan gave Gabriel a warning look before quickly walking away. Gabriel entered the suite, aware that he had much more at stake than simply cleaning a room. For the next hour, Gabriel worked like never before. He cleaned every corner, dusted every surface, and paid attention to the smallest details. He used techniques he had learned observing his more experienced colleagues and added personal touches he knew would impress the guest. When the executive returned, Gabriel held his breath as the man meticulously inspected the suite. Finally, the guest turned to him with a surprised expression. "I must admit I'm impressed," he said. "Not only is it impeccable, but you reorganized my work papers in a very efficient way. How did you know to do that?" Gabriel, remembering his role, responded humbly, "My father was an executive assistant, sir. He taught me a few tricks." The guest nodded approvingly. "Very well. I'll speak to management to praise your work." As soon as the man left the room, Gabriel allowed himself to breathe in relief for having avoided a crisis. But he knew this was just the beginning. Gabriel left the suite with a mixture of relief and concern. He avoided an immediate crisis, but he knew this was just the tip of the iceberg. The hotel's structural problems were still there, threatening to explode at any moment. As he pushed his cleaning cart to the next room, he found himself face to face with Lucas. The general manager looked at him with an indecipherable expression. "You're the new guy, right?" Lucas asked in a tone that put Gabriel on alert. "The guest from 507 called the front desk to praise your work. Said you're the best waiter he's seen in years." Gabriel nodded nervously, aware that he was walking a fine line alone. "I did my job, sir." Lucas narrowed his eyes. "Just your job? Listen, kid, I don't know what game you're playing, but I'm warning you. No one in this hotel is indispensable. If you think you can play the hero and jump the chain of command, you're very mistaken." Gabriel's heart beat hard. Maybe Lucas suspected something. "I don't understand, sir. I just wanted to help," he replied, maintaining his facade of innocence. "Help, huh?" Lucas scoffed. "Well, here's an opportunity to really help. The guest in 610 has been complaining all week. Nothing satisfies him. Go there and solve the problem. If you can do that, maybe I'll reconsider your position here." With Lucas gone, Gabriel was left with an uncomfortable feeling. He knew that room 610 was notorious among the staff for hosting a particularly difficult guest. Upon arrival at room 610, Gabriel knocked lightly on the door. A shrill and irritating voice answered from inside. "It's about time. I've been waiting all morning." The door suddenly opened, revealing a 50-year-old woman dressed in designer clothes and covered in jewelry. Her expression was one of pure disgust. "Well," she snapped, "are you going to stand there or are you going to do something useful?" Gabriel took a deep breath and entered the room. For the next 2 hours, he faced an endless barrage of complaints and demands. The pillow was too soft, the air conditioning was too cold, the minibar didn't have her preferred brand of mineral water. To each complaint, Gabriel responded with patience and professionalism, seeking creative solutions to problems that seemed unsolvable. He changed pillows, adjusted the temperature, and even ran to a nearby store to get the specific brand of water the guest demanded. When it seemed he had met all possible demands, the woman looked at him with a less hostile expression. "Well, at least you know how to do your job," she said in what seemed to be the closest thing to a compliment she could offer. Exhausted but satisfied, Gabriel was about to withdraw when the woman added, "Oh, one more thing. I need you to take this dress to the laundry and bring it back in an hour. It's for an event tonight, and I can't wait." Gabriel looked at the clock. It was impossible to take the dress to the laundry and return it in such a short time, but he also knew that refusing could undo all the progress he had made at that moment. "I have an idea, ma'am. If you'll allow me, I can take care of this personally. We have an express ironing service at the hotel that can make it impeccable in less than an hour." The woman looked at him skeptically. "If you ruin my dress, I'll have you fired," she warned. "I understand the risk, ma'am. You can trust me," Gabriel replied with a confidence he didn't know he possessed. For the next hour, Gabriel worked frantically, using all the skills he had acquired observing the hotel staff and some tricks he remembered from his life as a businessman. He steamed and gave the final touches to the dress with a precision that surprised even himself. When he presented the dress to the guest, she examined it critically. After a moment that seemed eternal, a small smile appeared on her lips. "Impressive," she finally said. "I've never seen anyone in this hotel work like this. I'll certainly mention this in my review." Gabriel left the room feeling as if he had run a marathon. He passed the test, but the emotional impact was high. For the first time since his secret adventure began, he wondered if he really had what it took to change things from the inside. As he walked down the hallway, he saw Lucas watching him from afar. The manager's expression was a mixture of surprise and something Gabriel couldn't identify: suspicion, respect, or something more sinister. Gabriel knew he had attracted attention for better or worse. Now he had to decide his next move carefully. The game was becoming more dangerous and the stakes were rising. In the days that followed, it was a whirlwind of activities for Gabriel. His success with difficult guests did not go unnoticed, and he was soon assigned to the most complicated tasks and the most demanding clients. On one hand, this gave him the opportunity to see more closely the operations and weak points in the hotel's service. On the other hand, the increase in responsibilities made it more difficult to maintain the disguise. One afternoon, while cleaning the pool storage area, Gabriel noticed Mia, the friendly waitress he met on his first day, arguing heatedly with Ethan, the cleaning supervisor. "You can't keep ignoring this," Mia exclaimed. "The pool maintenance equipment needs to be replaced. It's dangerous for guests and for us." Ethan looked exasperated. "Mia, we've discussed this. There's no budget for new equipment. You'll have to make do with what you have." "Maybe we should find someone who can." Mia left visibly frustrated and on the verge of tears. Gabriel, unable to contain his concern, followed her to a quiet corner behind the pool bar. "Mia, are you okay?" he asked softly. She looked surprised, as if she hadn't noticed his presence. "Oh, Gabriel. Yes, I'm fine. No, the truth is, I'm not fine." She sighed deeply. "I love this job. I love taking care of guests. But every day it gets harder to do well with the resources we have." Gabriel nodded understandingly. "I understand you. I've noticed many things that could be improved since I arrived." Mia looked at him curiously. "You know, for being new, you seem to understand a lot about how a hotel works." For a moment, Gabriel feared he had said too much, but then he saw an opportunity. "Well, I've worked in several hotels and I've always been interested in understanding how things work. I'm just doing my job." "That's great," said Mia with a spark of enthusiasm in her eyes. "I wish more people here thought like that. I have so many ideas to improve things, but nobody wants to listen." "Tell me some of the ideas," Gabriel suggested, genuinely interested. For the next hour, while pretending to clean the pool area, Mia shared with Gabriel a series of innovative proposals and solutions, from a more efficient communication system between departments to cross-training so that employees could better understand their colleagues' work. Gabriel was impressed. Mia not only had brilliant ideas, but also a deep understanding of hotel operations and a true commitment to service excellence. "Mia, these ideas are amazing," Gabriel finally said. "Why haven't you formally proposed them?" Mia's smile faded. "I tried once. I prepared a presentation and everything. But Lucas told me to just do my job and stop dreaming about things that are out of my control." Gabriel's indignation grew. Not only were they wasting Mia's talent, but they were destroying her spirit and initiative. "You shouldn't give up," Gabriel said firmly. "Your ideas could make a big difference in the hotel." Mia looked at him with a mixture of hope and skepticism. You think so? Sometimes I think I should look for a job somewhere else where they value their employees more. Gabriel responded quickly, surprising himself with the vehemence of his response. This hotel needs people like you, Mia. People who care, who want to improve things. Mia looked at him for a moment, as if trying to decipher a puzzle. There's something different about you, Gabriel. You're not like the other new waiters I've met. Gabriel felt a pang of panic, worried that his disguise was becoming too obvious. But before he could respond, Mia continued. It's refreshing, to have someone who really listens and understands. Most people here just want to do their job and go home at the end of the day. Well, I think everyone can make a difference no matter what our position is, said Gabriel. Mia smiled, a genuine smile that lit up her face. Maybe we need to be more creative in how we present our ideas. If management won't listen, maybe we can implement some small changes on our own. Gabriel raised an eyebrow, intrigued. What do you have in mind? Well, said Mia, lowering her voice, I've been thinking of a way to improve communication between cleaning and maintenance staff. If we could better coordinate our schedules and tasks, we could be much more efficient. Gabriel nodded, his mind already working on the possibilities. That sounds great. How could we start? As Mia explained her plan, Gabriel realized that he had found more than just an ally. He had found someone who shared his vision of what hotel royalty could be. What Gabriel didn't know was that this unexpected alliance was about to put him on a collision course with Lucas and the hotel management. The changes he and Mia were about to initiate, though small at first, would be the spark that would trigger a much larger transformation than either of them could imagine. At sunset by the hotel royalty pool, Gabriel felt for the first time since he began his secret mission, a real hope that he could bring about the changes he had been seeking. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activities for Gabriel and Mia. Working in secret, they began to implement small changes in their daily routines. They created a system of coded notes to communicate between different shifts, improved the organization of cleaning carts to increase efficiency, and even developed a method to prioritize maintenance requests. At first, the changes were subtle, and other employees barely noticed them, but gradually, the effects began to become evident. Guest complaints decreased, rooms were cleaned more quickly, and the overall atmosphere among the cleaning staff visibly improved. Not everything was good, however. Gabriel noticed that Lucas was observing him more and more frequently, with a look that mixed suspicion and frustration. It was as if the general manager could sense that something was changing, but couldn't identify exactly what or who was behind it. One morning, while Gabriel was cleaning the lobby, he overheard a conversation between Lucas and Olivia, the head of personnel. Something is happening with the cleaning staff, Lucas said, his voice full of irritation. They're too efficient and organized, and I don't like it. Olivia seemed confused. But sir, isn't that good? Complaints have decreased and guests seem more satisfied. It's not just about that. Lucas retorted, it's a matter of control. If they start thinking they can change things on their own, what comes next? Demanding better conditions? We need to nip this in the bud. Gabriel felt a chill run down his spine. He knew he was walking on thin ice, but he didn't expect such a negative reaction to the improvements. That afternoon, during his break, Gabriel shared what he had heard with Mia. The young waitress paled. Do you think they suspect us? Her voice was just a whisper. Gabriel shook his head. I don't think they know it's us specifically, but Lucas knows something is changing, and he doesn't like it. Mia bit her lip thoughtfully. Maybe we should stop. If they find out, we could lose our jobs. Gabriel felt a pang of guilt. Mia didn't know that he was the hotel owner and that his job wasn't really at risk, but for her and all the other employees, the threat was very real. We can't stop now, he finally said, with a determination that surprised even himself. What we're doing is improving things for all of us. We have to keep going. Mia looked at him with a mixture of admiration and apprehension. But what if Lucas is looking for culprits? It's only a matter of time until he discovers us. Gabriel thought for a moment. Maybe it's time to be bolder. If more people get involved, it will be harder for Lucas to point to anyone in particular. What do you have in mind? Mia was intrigued. A grassroots movement, Gabriel replied, feeling comfortable with the idea as it took shape in his mind. Let's share our ideas with more employees, not all at once, but we'll start gradually with those we trust the most. Mia nodded slowly, a smile forming on her lips. That could work, and if more people see the benefits, it will be harder for management to ignore us. Over the next few weeks, Gabriel and Mia worked tirelessly to expand their network. They shared their ideas with Daniel, the veteran waiter, with Emily, a perceptive receptionist, and even with Ethan, the cleaning supervisor, who, to their surprise, was receptive once he saw the positive results. The movement grew silently, like an underground river. Employees began to communicate better between departments, to share resources and knowledge. Efficiency increased even more, and the atmosphere in the hotel became more collaborative and positive. However, the storm that Gabriel had predicted finally broke. On a Friday afternoon, Lucas called an emergency meeting with all staff. The general manager paced back and forth in front of the gathered employees, his face a mask of barely contained fury. Unauthorized changes have been made to hotel procedures. He began with a voice as cold as ice. This is unacceptable. Anyone caught altering established protocols will be fired immediately. A tense silence fell over the room. Gabriel could feel the fear emanating from his companions. He was about to speak up and take responsibility when Mia stepped forward. "Mr. Lucas," she said, her voice trembling a little but firm. "The changes that have been made have improved our service. Guests are more satisfied, and we can do our job more efficiently." Lucas turned to her, his eyes dangerously bright. "Are you admitting that you're behind this, Mia?" Before Mia could answer, Daniel, the veteran waiter, intervened. "It's not just Mia, sir. We all contributed to these changes." "It's true," added Emily from reception, "and the results speak for themselves. Complaints have decreased by 30% since we implemented the new communication system." One by one, employees began to speak up, defending the changes and explaining how they had improved their work and guest service. Lucas looked surprised, clearly not expecting such unified resistance. "This is insubordination," he sputtered. "You can't just decide to change things on your own." Gabriel knew it was time to intervene. He stepped forward, aware that what he was about to do could change everything. "Lucas," Gabriel said calmly, "these changes are not a threat, they're an opportunity. The staff has shown initiative and dedication to improve the hotel. Shouldn't we at least consider their ideas?" Lucas looked at him, a spark of recognition in his eyes. "You," he said slowly, "you're the new guy who's been causing trouble since you arrived." Gabriel maintained his composure, aware that all eyes were on him. "I haven't caused any trouble, sir. I've just tried to do my job to the best of my ability, just like everyone else here." The tension in the room was palpable. For a moment it seemed like Lucas was going to explode, but then, unexpectedly, Olivia, the head of personnel, intervened. "Mr. Lucas," she said firmly, "I think we should hear what they have to say. The numbers don't lie. If these changes are improving our service, shouldn't we at least consider them?" Lucas looked around, realizing he was losing control of the situation. With a grunt of frustration, he said, "Fine. You have a week to present me with a detailed report of all the changes made and their results. From that, I'll decide what stays and what goes. And if I find out that anyone has hidden information or acted behind my back, there will be consequences. Understood?" A murmur of agreement ran through the room as the employees began to disperse. Gabriel exchanged a look with Mia. They had won a small victory, but they knew that the real battle was just beginning. What Gabriel didn't know was that this confrontation had planted a seed of suspicion in Lucas's mind. The general manager was determined to find out who this new waiter really was, who seemed to know too much and have too much influence. The approaching storm was bigger than Gabriel could imagine, and he would soon find himself in the eye of the hurricane, fighting not only for the future of the hotel, but also for maintaining his hidden true identity. The days following the meeting were a frenzy of activity. Gabriel, Mia, and the rest of the team worked tirelessly to document all the changes they had implemented and their positive results. Sleepless nights, heated discussions, and a general feeling of anxiety dominated the hotel environment. Gabriel noticed that Lucas was watching him more and more closely, feeling the general manager's eyes following him through the corridors, examining each of his actions. The pressure was almost unbearable, and Gabriel knew it was only a matter of time before his disguise was discovered. One afternoon, while Gabriel was cleaning the hotel bar, he overheard a conversation that made his blood run cold. "I'm telling you, Olivia," Lucas said in a low but intense voice. "There's something strange about that new waiter. I've been investigating, and there are no records of him in any of the hotels where he claims to have worked before." Olivia seemed skeptical. "Are you sure that maybe he didn't use a different name?" "No," Lucas interrupted. "There's something more in the way he speaks, how he understands the business. He's not just a waiter, and I'm going to find out who he is." Gabriel truly felt panic take over him, his mind working at full speed trying to find a way out. He knew he couldn't keep up the charade much longer, but he also couldn't reveal his identity yet, when they were so close to making a real change in the hotel. That night, Gabriel could barely sleep. He tossed and turned in his small bed in the staff dormitory, knowing that his decisions in the coming days could determine not only his future, but that of all the employees who had trusted him. The next morning, as he prepared for his shift, he made a decision. He needed to trust someone, and that someone had to be Mia. She had been his ally from the beginning, and deserved to know the truth. Gabriel found Mia in the supply warehouse, organizing towels. "Mia," he said softly, "I need to talk to you. There's something I need to tell you." Something in his tone must have alarmed her, because she nodded without asking questions and followed him to an isolated corner of the hotel basement. "Mia, there's something I need to tell you," Gabriel began, his heart beating hard. "I'm not who you think I am." Mia looked at him with a mixture of confusion and concern. "What are you talking about?" Taking a deep breath, Gabriel revealed the whole truth, telling her about his true identity as the hotel owner, his plan to work undercover, and his reasons for doing so. He watched as Mia's expression went from surprise to shock, and finally to something he couldn't identify. When he finished, there was a long silence. Finally, Mia spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because Lucas is suspicious," Gabriel replied, "and because I need your help. We've come too far to give up now." Mia looked at him for what seemed like an eternity, and then, to Gabriel's surprise, a small smile formed on her lips. "You know, a part of me always knew there was something different about you. But this is crazy." "I know," said Gabriel, feeling relieved that Mia didn't seem angry. "Can you help me?" Mia nodded slowly. "Of course. But now that I know who you really are, I have some more ambitious ideas I'd like to share." Before Gabriel could respond, the basement door opened. Lucas was there, his face a mask of triumphant fury. "I knew you were plotting something. Who are you really? A competitor? A spy? An undercover journalist?" Gabriel straightened up, knowing that the moment of truth had arrived. "No, Lucas. I'm Gabriel Lawson, the owner of this hotel." The silence that followed was deafening. Lucas looked like he had been struck by lightning, his mouth opening and closing without making a sound. Mia, despite having been informed moments before, seemed equally shocked to hear the revelation out loud. "That's impossible," Lucas finally sputtered. "Why would the hotel owner work as a waiter?" "To see firsthand what really happens here," Gabriel replied, his voice firm. "To understand why a hotel that was once the pride of the city is losing its shine. And what I saw, Lucas, has deeply disappointed me." Lucas seemed to regain some composure. "Mr. Lawson, if you had any complaints about my management, we could have discussed it in my office. There was really no need for this deception. Like the last time I tried to discuss hotel problems with you, and you assured me everything was under control," Gabriel retorted, his voice full of sarcasm. "I needed to see the truth for myself." At that moment, Olivia appeared at the door, drawn by the noise. "What's going on here?" she asked, looking confused at the scene before her. "What's going on?" said Gabriel, addressing not only Olivia but also Lucas and Mia, "is that it's time for real change at Hotel Royalty. And that change starts now." The atmosphere in the basement was charged with tension and anticipation. Gabriel knew that what would happen in the next few minutes would determine the future of the hotel and everyone who worked in it. The confrontation that had been building for weeks had finally come to its critical point, and Gabriel was ready to face it head-on. Lucas finally regained his speech, his voice trembling with disbelief and anger. "Mr. Lawson, I don't understand. If there were problems, why didn't you deal with this like a normal owner? Why the disguise? Why this theater?" Gabriel kept his gaze fixed on the manager, his voice firm but calm. "Because I needed to see things from my employees' point of view. I needed to understand the flaws in the system we created, and there's no other way to do that than by living their experience. And what I discovered, Lucas, is that the problem goes beyond numbers and reports. It's a matter of culture, of leadership, and of how we treat the people who make this hotel work." Olivia looked at Gabriel, realizing the depth of his words, and nodded slowly. "He's right. I've seen the difference these changes have made. I've seen how employees are more engaged, happier, how the service has improved. Maybe it's time we reconsider how we're managing the royalty." Lucas looked about to contest, but held back. The weight of Gabriel's words, the unity of the employees, and the clear evidence that the changes were working left him without arguments. Finally, he lowered his head, resigned. "Very well. If that's how you wish it, Mr. Lawson, I'll do whatever it takes to implement your ideas." Gabriel smiled slightly, a smile of gratitude and determination. "Thank you, Lucas. Let's work together to transform this hotel, but not just for profit or prestige. Let's do this because the people who work here and the guests who visit us deserve the best." He looked at Mia, who was now staring at him with a mixture of respect and hope. "Mia, Olivia, and all of you who are willing to fight for a better royalty, your voice will be heard. From today on, this hotel will be a place where everyone is valued, where every idea counts, and where excellence is not just a goal, but our way of life." And with those words, Gabriel turned to leave the basement, knowing that the real work was just beginning. But now, he had a team by his side, a clear vision, and an unwavering determination to transform Hotel Royalty into something much greater than it ever was. As he climbed the stairs alongside Mia and Olivia, Gabriel felt that the weight of his concerns was finally beginning to dissipate. The path ahead would be challenging, full of obstacles and resistance, but he knew that together they could overcome anything. Hotel Royalty was about to enter a new era, and Gabriel was determined to lead this transformation with empathy, courage, and a firm belief in the potential of every person who was part of that place. The future shone with possibilities, and he couldn't wait to see them come to fruition.